Hey guys, and welcome to another edition of Silkypix Developer Studio Pro editing. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how to edit a couple photo with the mixed skin tone. This is probably one of the challenging part as a photographer. Taking the photo and editing the photo, they're both equally difficult and challenging. For example, here in this photograph, you have the beautiful bride and the groom, but with a complete different color and a heavy contrast. One is completely white, like it touches in the histogram, like the highest part of the histogram, where you have the dark skin tone. A lot of work actually goes to taking the photograph first of all, so you have to nail your exposure at the very beginning. So I'm not going to show you how to do that. This is not about how to capture this photograph, but in this edition I'm going to show you how to edit afterward. So my job is already quite easy because the photograph is already captured beautifully. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Look at the histogram here. In the histogram, it's just about right. Nothing is clipping. Particularly, the dark area is not crushing in any part, including the jacket, the vest. And if you look at the brightest part of the histogram, nothing is clipping, especially her skin and her dress genuinely well exposed, which is a good job by the photographer. Now, when it comes to the editing part, this is where it's going to be challenging. Another challenge I have, because the photograph is taken with the Canon EOS 5D which is crazy high resolution with the 60 megabyte of the file size. So that is going to be something that I need to work on. And the lens here is a Sigma 150 to 600 mm contemporary. So that's something, because the lens looks pretty decent to me. So I'm going to start with the lens correction first of all. And before I jump into the editing, I recommend you to save this video for later, because you as a photographer, it's all about practice and practice and practice. And I recommend you to come back to this video if you want to remind yourself how to edit this type of photograph and practice. And also, if you share, like and subscribe, that would be great. Now I'm going to go to the lens aberration correction and then lens profile. I know already that is taken by Sigma, so I'm going to go to the Sigma. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the lens. So it's 150 to 600. So I'm going to find that from the lens. Generally, it's a famous one. A lot of photographers I know personally use this lens quite a bit, especially for the sports and wildlife photography. I don't have any personal experience with it, but I believe that it's a very decent lens within a very good price range, if you're curious about that. So where is my lens, by the way, in this thing? So I'm going to go with that one, 150 to 600, and looks pretty good already. What I'm going to do also, turn on the chromatic aberration. So I'm done with the lens correction department. Now, white balance is also going to be pretty challenging for me. So I'm going to turn on the white balance. And here, as you can see, you have two options, the gray balance tool and the skin color tool. So I'm going to demonstrate exactly how each of them work. So one, the gray balance tool, you don't need a gray color, but you need a pure white. So let's say her dress is pure white. So I'm going to drop on that. It looks really nice, vibrant. I personally love it. Wow. Okay, I'm impressed. So I'm going to go to the camera settings, take the skin color tool. Now, this tool, I believe, going to be a slightly ineffective because complete different skin tone. So I'm going to try that anyway, just to show you how it reacts to the skin tone. So I'm going to drop on her first. So ladies first. Surprisingly, guess what? This tool gave me almost exact similar result as the gray balance tool. That's good. That's good news. So I'm gonna press Ctrl Z to go back, bring back the tool again, and then drop it on him. Now let's see what it does. And good news that it's yellow. So when it comes to the brightness, when it comes to the white balance, it is still within the range, but it's also exposed a little too much. Obviously, because his skin tone is darker, so the dropper saying that, okay, I'm going to make sure that the gentleman here is well exposed. But as a result, everything else gone brighter. But guess what? To be honest with you, I'm also a big fan of this now, because it became now a nice high key portrait photography. I'm going to show you before and after. Before the original photograph, Now after, I mean, how many times you have seen this type of high key photo? I'm pretty sure that quite a lot. So you can keep it that way if you like it. I mean, I'm actually kind of wants to finish this editing right here because it looks like the tool did a good job already and I don't need to show you. But you know what? I'm going to continue. So I'm going to go back, stick with her skin tone. I'm going to do that like that. And add a little bit of more warmth. I'm going to go to the exposure and reduce the highlight just a little bit. Make sure that her white beautiful dress is not clipping. Color burn, do the color burn, just bring back a little bit more, because my idea is that I'm going to reduce the highlight quite a bit, but I'm going to add a lot of gamma to make it actually a bit more vibrant. So step number 1 is done. Color, I keep saying that it's step number 1. Do you know that last video I said step number 3 is done, while actually that was pretty much step number 11 or 12, so I should stop saying that. And then I'm gonna keep it natural. Then color representation, I'm going to test the portrait, 3 different portrait profile, and if not, I'm gonna swipe through the different film look. I think film color A, it's my personal favorite. It is giving me a really nice calming look. So step number 2 is done. Again, I should stop saying that. Now what I'm going to do, in curve, I'm going to change my curve to L. I will pull the midtone up, reduce the highlight with 255 down a little bit, like that. Now starting from that, we start to have a really nice and beautiful base. So what I'm going to do, I add a touch of saturation and go to the tone, reduce clarity about -6, contrast center down. I'm done there. Now in the tone curve, my favorite thing to do is to go to the blue curve, reduce the blue, not that, pull it down and make it S. Like that. See what's happening now? And then same thing I'm gonna do with green. In the green, I'm going to actually reduce the green quite a bit. Although at the shadow area, midtone and shadow, I'm gonna put it up just like that. So what is happening here? You're doing few things at once. You are making the photo look vibrant yet well exposed. Take a look at the histogram. Histogram is right in the middle. So it's bright, it's exposed to the right, but nothing on the left or right is clipping. It's very high key. I can actually reduce the highlight quite a bit. Again, go to the color burn and then pull it up just like that to make it look nice and calming. And once you're done with it, the last thing I say you could do, but you shouldn't have to do, but you could do, is to add some tint in the shadow area and multicolor compensation about 18. Now photo, you see the gentleman with the dark skin looks well exposed, right amount of light, and the lady looks well exposed and phenomenal and beautiful. So everything is good right there. What I can do right now is to end this tutorial by adding default noise reduction, sharpening, and demosaic sharpening. This type of photography is very complicated as a photographer to capture the photo and as an editor to edit the photo. And your photography plays a significant role at the very beginning when you click on the shutter button, because editing can protect you much, but when you screw up the capturing the photograph, that is actually where the problem starts. So what I'm trying to say is that it's more about capturing the photograph than editing the photograph if you want to have a nice and beautiful photo. So as a photographer, I recommend you to expose for the skin. I say you should generally expose for the darkest person but on the high area. Either you can go for the dark part of the bright skin or the bright part of the dark skin. So you kind of have the middle part. Pay attention to the histogram in your camera. So when you do all that, generally you should be in the safe zone. I'm going to export that. So Control S, change the name and then export. I like to show you the before and after. So I'm going to put the photo on the left hand side like in a double screen, and then I'll turn almost everything off. What I'm going to do, I'm going to click the reset button. So as you can clearly see, the significant change we have done in the photograph. So photo on the left, obviously the original photograph, and photo on the right, that's our final edit. Sky's the limit. You are the artist, so you can make a different version, but this is my version. This is my take on how to edit photos with the mixed color. As you can clearly see, this is almost close to nothing wrong on the left hand side. It is actually a beautiful photo. I'm personally a big fan of it. But the photo on the right, that's what the commercial version of wedding photography or any kind of commercial photography, because you need to add your own touch and commercial touch into the photograph. So that's my take. I hope that you learned something out of it and took something out of it and use it for your own project. So if you like this photo, please do like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.